It's 14:16 on the same date. This is about my third or fourth upload so far today. As I've mentioned, I'm self-healing due to the incompetence and ineptitude of individuals presuming or claiming or accrediting their status as a healthcare provider or a health caregiver, while in fact they've probably, as I've mentioned, due to their malpractice, misdemeanors and misconduct, have probably been struck off the list of accredited practitioners due to their incompetence in their profession. I am currently being stalked, so this is for the interest of young women and the safety of young women in society with regard to how we have to protect ourselves, unfortunately. I really hope the Garda Síochána are aware how young women have already put themselves in a precarious situation without knowing or without awareness of the predators that are out there in society. Young women have been put at risk without knowledge of how dangerous society can be sometimes. And currently, as I've said, there are people illegally parking, there are people, in my proximity that shouldn't be in my proximity. And as I've said, as I'm self-healing, any further damages will have repercussions to the healthcare providers or the general practitioners that did not fulfill their obligations to royalty, not respecting my anatomy or my bloodline while profiting from my purpose is going to compromise people's safety. And I don't know if they understand that, but that needs to be clearly understood. So those people that have compromised their ethics with their avarice need to be really careful about how they've been exploiting from my professional portfolio or my humanitarian purpose or goals of or objectives. So as a married mother, I'm still married. My husband is Richard McElligott. We met first when we were only 4 years of age, and in 2015 we became man and wife. Now our marriage, our holy matrimony, has been intruded upon dangerously and disgustingly and disrespectfully, and people have been neurotic about my farm holdings of my matrimony that has experienced awful suffering. My husband has suffered, my child has suffered, and I've suffered, and there is a laissez-faire, do what you like mentality by liabilities behaving like clowns in a circus. So we've seen enough nonsense already with this charade. But what people seem to misunderstand is when a person is self-healing, it's really unsafe for the general practitioners that haven't done their obligation to royal blood. It's really unsafe for them to think that they can overlook what their obligations are. That's like shirking off your responsibility as an adult and deciding to be reckless or careless or ASBO in society. So those general practitioners that haven't honoured their obligations to my royal patronage position, my royal family, my royal names, etc., that's all very dangerous. That's how there are repercussions in society. There are obligations whether people want to come to terms with it or whether it makes them feel uncomfortable. Some people are very uncomfortable with status. Some people are very uncomfortable with people standing in society, and some people just prefer to shirk off their responsibilities and their duties and pretend that they don't have to do anything, and in the meantime we'll sit back and we'll see people harmed and hurt and suffer. That's very irresponsible. That makes someone unfit for society and unfit for daily living. So anyway, in the meantime, my point I'm making is that I am a married mother and I'm self-healing. My child, I have had a witnessing of him today, and there are people in my proximity that really aren't safe from my farm safety vending me. There are people that are thinking that they can just, drive onto people's premises and make themselves at home without an invitation or without a welcoming. Unfortunately, we don't have that policy on our farm holdings. We're very, very strict about people that procure from our family name. My name is McElligott. I am McElligott by blood and I am McElligott by matrimony. There are people that are offending my McElligott blood and my McElligott ancestry, and they're being really cheeky with people's names and their own identities and making themselves into a story plotting line that is highly irrational. They've offended the church already since 2015. They're not in good stead with the church, unfortunately, and they're not in good stead with the property owners where they're offending and not paying their debts. And they have been of awful social influencing efforts, which means that they've also, again, already offended the role of the arts, the culture, the heritage, and the media, from which I am fully qualified. So the scenario is at the moment that there are people trying to discredit my qualifications, my track record, and my status. In fact, I am solvent, I am qualified, I am of a clean track record, and I am royal, and I am a married mother. So these are the labels and caps that I wear, and I have feathers and the whole shebang like an ostrich around the place trying to find my son in Tralee, County Kerry. But in the meantime, there are people sitting back thinking they're going to cause more problems and not provide the solutions that they're supposed to be providing in the form of reparations. So those people that are illegally parking and putting the safety of my farms and other agrarian matters at risk. You see, the legislation that's come from my circumstances as a married mother, and my child is a missing person, and my husband a missing person, the church implications are awfully sad. It's very sad for the church and the family unit when people's family units are being imposed upon because or due to people that are of a land grabbing mentality. It's quite disgusting. But this is what is happening in County Kerry. The basic point of the matter is that people that are imposing upon the family unit is an assault of a pillar of democracy. Now there are people speaking of democratic aid, humanitarian aid, etc. And there are people that are espousing to be living of civil society principles, And the point I'm making is that the family unit that I represent, I am the matriarch of my family. That means that I have authority with regard not only my property but also my royal patronage, my royal titles and my royal position of my maternal and paternal families. Now, there are laws with regard to royal protocol, and I'm aware that there are people that want to cut me down and put me down. I'm aware that there are people trying to say, oh, we'll put her in her box, we'll walk in on her now from the Simon community, is it? And we'll make her homeless, and we'll kick her off her farms, and we'll make her a prostitute, and we'll put her child off into India or somewhere like that, is it? Well, you see, what happens, when people have that mentality of making a prostitute of a property owner that's self-healing, it puts the doctors, it puts the lawyers, and it puts the legislator, it puts the leaders all at risk, and it puts the people that are profiteering in a very dangerous position with their children that are spending money that they don't actually own and that they are owing in this direction. So it's quite disgusting and it's very unsafe if anyone thinks they're going to compromise my integrity as a qualified professional to suit their disgusting desires. So the point of the matter is the authorities are fully aware that there are stalkers now and that there's a child that's a missing person, and there are disgusting people in my proximity with no standards or calibre or quality of character in society, that have no education, that have no respect for education, and that have no calibre or etiquette training in royal protocol. So these disgusting circumstances are they would make someone nauseous, that they're so filthy. I don't know how people are able to interact or transact themselves with these kind of individuals in society, but that's how disgusting a circumstance it is. And the point of the matter is also that a family unit, a family pillar in a democracy is being disrespected to accommodate, I suppose, with a morbid perception of society. There are people trying to tell me that I don't own anything. There are people trying to tell me that I'm of poverty or that I'm not solvent. The fact of the matter is these people are mental health issues and they're casualties. There are debts owed to me. The guards really need to work with the facts rather than the stories, because there's a load of fallacies. The facts are that I'm still a married mother. The facts are that my child is illegally from my care because of Tuesday Child and Family Agency and its mascots that have been of bad PR and bad publicity. There are people parking illegally, ignoring royal protocol and my birthrights as a royal. There are also people that have debts owing. I'm very solvent. I just am waiting for people to be honourable and to pay their debts that they owe me for the past 20 years, the past 7 years. So, I'm self-healing. I'm being as conscientious, regarding the problems that have evolved from this matter. But there are people that think they're getting off evading and exacerbating without calculating the casualties that they've already been making. So that's really serious for little girls and boys that have parents breaking the law and offending Mother McElligott, who's missing her child from her care because of people that have decided not to do their jobs properly but still take a wage. That's very unsafe. That's very unsafe. So those that are living off social reform for me, or that have coveted my property, might be very careful about the offences that they're causing to my family name. I hold my McElligott family in very high esteem, and as I've said, it's paternal and it's matrimonial as well. So it's really nice. I'm very blessed. Those though that are offending my McElligott name aren't so blessed. So be careful, please, everybody, about the defamation laws. Defamation laws are there for a reason. Those people that have no respect for people's names or family lines would want to be very careful where they're trespassing on my pathways up in my homeland in Kilflynn and Ardfart, Tubbert Hill. Those that are thinking that they're taking from a mother and child need to have a good reality check. It's very dangerous stealing from a mother and child. It makes other women and children unsafe. So the laws that be are there for a reason. Those breaking the laws, I suppose, get a visit from the law. You know how it is. Those that want to demean or belittle, I don't know if they've much of a conscience about the repercussions for little girls' futures. It's not really safe disrespecting birth givers, women that give birth to life. We are the caregiver, the provider, the nurturer, the teacher, the mother. So basically, I hope everyone's respecting the role of the woman in society, and those that have disrespected the role of the mother, the caregiver, the provider, etc. I have a conscience regarding the misunderstanding and the discrepancy of how I perceive and how the culprit of misunderstandings regarding our role is perceived. So it's the viewer, the voyeur, and what is viewed. So, we're all about voyeurism in this natural day and age of, inputting images and outputting our opinions. So I hope from that perspective people might be a bit more intelligent from an anthropological perspective as well, with regard to the images and messages that we feed and circulate and share in the media and in society. So, as a qualified anthropologists now at this stage, I would hope that people have a respect for the culture, the heritage and the arts that they've been disrespecting and damaging from Ireland, Southwest Ireland, as of nearly 10-15 years ago, roughly around 2012. So that's as much as I have to say in this upload. Those are my proximity that are offending my privacy and proximity rights and privacy rights or protocol rights. Please be careful about the repercussions.